started with the finance committee meeting. State board nursing, we have a forum here today. So we call them in order. We don't have an on-site packet. There are not any additions or revisions to the agenda. Do we have any announcements? So take a moment to review the minutes from our September 11th 2020 meeting and some instructing motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
There's,
I'm sorry, the minutes.
thank you.
Patrick also board members in a second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, no. Abstentions, motion passes. So we'll move to our agenda. Unfinished business. Monthly finance report update. Our packet.
Right, it is actually on page 5, and this is again the monthly one that we get. I believe this was to the end of October. It shows, our cash balance at that point in time is 5.2 million, just a bit on that, something like that. That does, of course, fluctuate and everything to be expected. There's no surprises here, anything along that line. Our revenue is at times going down more than it was. There's some things that I wanted to discuss with the board about refunds. So it's on the board agenda. And Ray and licensing is going to come and talk about it because they're very involved with it. But I'll just let you know, it does affect us because we refund the money. Say if I paid $125 for an application and then I decided 3 weeks later that, no, I don't want to do this. I want to go to Missouri or something. Well, they may call and say, I just want more money back, but we have nothing that really says that we don't do refunds. And so we give them the $125 back, but we're out the staff time to process all of this. So anyway, I just wanted to have some discussion with you about that. I know it has to do with finance, but I put it on the board agenda because I really felt like I put it on the board. We had to have that conversation and stuff. So you'll hear more about that. But that's something that we all wanted to bring up because we've been watching it.
Well, you have a valid point. I don't know what it would take to change the wording.
Yeah, Charles and I talked a little bit that we might be able to do something with regulation, fees regulation.
Just have one portion of it that's not fundable.
Well, that's just it. I mean, are you just going to not refund like an administrative fee? Or are you going to say, I mean, we've had them come back, well, Ray can speak to this better than I am, probably over a year after they've submitted the application, and the application's abandoned 6 months after they receive it. And oftentimes they abandon because we don't have all the information that we need. They've never submitted it. So they might call back a year later and say, well, I didn't get my refund. So, yeah, I think that's discussion for the board to have. I know some boards do not refund money. Some boards keep out an administrative fee that would cover some of the staff time. I think she's gonna kind of break it down a little bit more as far as what various things, I mean, how many, we get a lot of duplicates. I filled out 2 applications, so I need reminded 1. And I will just tell you the one that kind of blew my mind. I don't know if I have this exactly right, Jill, but one person paid us like 6 or 7 times for one application. They just kept putting their credit card information in there versus stopping and saying, am I doing something wrong? Something along that line. So yeah, we ended up refunding them $800 and some or something. And, I mean, there's not a problem with our process. It doesn't always happen instantaneous, and people just don't wait, it seems like. But I don't know, to put your credit card in that many times seems a little bit.
There's a note there that says, you have to wait, don't click it again.
Joe? Yeah.
And go, and make sure you go back to the,
Yeah.
make sure you go back to the page,
So
to finish.
anyway, we wanted to have that discussion. And just kind of get the take on if the board wants anything done with it or they want us to continue as we are. But it will. We're gonna continue to lose, the money for the staff.
So then next in our packet is the overview of three fiscal year budget session.
Yeah, and it starts on page 7. So submitted fiscal year 25, 26, and 27. And I did include in here the actuals that we spent for fiscal year 24. Just a reminder on the salaries that we have some open positions, but we always put in the budget, all of the vacant positions are totally in the budget as far as funded and all of that, benefits and stuff except for insurance. So that if we hire them, it's not going to mess with the budget. So that's why that number is a little bit lower and then we jump more for fiscal year 25. That's the big one there. The capital outlay, for fiscal year 24 is a lot, but we purchased all the laptops for everybody. And those are not cheap. And some of that stuff, we purchased actually a little bit more of that in fiscal year 24 because we had the money left over at the end of the fiscal year from the salaries. So rather than take it over we originally planned to put the laptops and everything in fiscal year 25. But we had a little bit of money, so we just said, let's go ahead and get them. And then we won't need that coming out of fiscal year 25. So there's a little bit of difference there. But you have below that on that page 7, you have all of the explanations for what all these different categories are. That's all that was done in the budget software like that. And then if you scroll down to page 8, I don't know if you've listened to the news or anything about what's going on with the legislature and stuff like that. They've actually started kind of a new budget process. It's just in the beginning stages, I think, but the legislature wanted to be able to start working on some of the budgets before the session started, because when the session starts, they give the governor's budget and then they start working. They didn't want to wait that long. So they have this special committee that looked at budgets. And legislative research is the division that actually presents the agency budget to them. So what you have starting on page 8 is their synopsis that they present. Normally, nobody sees this until we do our budget hearings with the House Committee and the Senate Committee. But they went ahead and did it early this year for that special committee. They kind of dig a little bit more into than I did. I didn't put that in there because you got it in here. So I really didn't feel the need to do it. It was presented to that special committee. They didn't have any questions for us. We were over there, Adrian and I, just in case there were questions about any of it. They didn't, but we were more toward the lower part of the agenda. And I think it had ran a lot overtime on some of the other ones ahead. So they were running out of time. So that may have something to do with it. But I haven't heard anything about them wanting to make some changes other than what we've submitted. Sometimes, the fee funds agencies, they don't mess with it too much as long as we have a fee fund that's going to support this and stuff like that. Now, we will, again, still go over for a House budget hearing and a Senate budget hearing after the session starts. So they basically kind of added another layer, is what they've done. But, legislative research didn't have any concerns or anything along that line, so. That will be the next step is, seeing the governor's budget, that she usually agrees with what we've submitted, because the Division of Budget has already looked at what we submitted before it goes to the governor. So, it's part of the way through, but usually. They may have questions and stuff like that, any questions? I know you wanted an overview. So hopefully that's kind of the overview that you were thinking of.
Um, this committee has completed all of our regulation reviews. We're having additional tasks for that. So we can move to new business, which is the committee name structure.
Yeah, you mentioned, it's been a few meetings ago about, there was some discussion about maybe this committee needed to be renamed to something that maybe would include cybersecurity risk or something, finance, cybersecurity risk committee. We'd really like to have someplace in our committees, cybersecurity, being aware of cybersecurity, cybersecurity education. I don't know if you did anything like that, anything.
Yeah, we're gonna have the executive session. We're gonna bring forth our purposes for the actual finalized cybersecurity plan for the agency. It's been a multi-year process that we've worked through, and it's a lengthy little book. But with the forefront of cybersecurity being so important, and you don't turn on the TV every day, you hear something going on, we just feel that there being proper governance of that, so that we form the board, keep them aware of any risks that maybe come up that we don't know about today, at least if something. Even for our operational processes. So, for instance, be an example, but let's say we determine that there's a risk in one of our processes, that we are clear and transparent with that, so that going forward we have transparency with our operations. And if in the unlikely event that something were to occur, we feel that it's really important to keep the board in the know, and you actually are part of our continuity of operations plan. So if something were to occur. So that's kind of our thought, and building it into, done some research. SEC was recommending at one point that all boards have some sort of cybersecurity professional on it, because of the shortage of individuals that's been kind of held up at the federal government level. But we think we're leading forward with this as an agency, and it just shows that we find it very valuable.
It would just be finance and risk management. So other kinds of
Yeah.
risk mitigation.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Finance list. So then I guess my next question is, in the articles, all of the committees have a purpose. And finance right now is to review and project budgetary needs to support the agency and to maintain a structured system for monitoring compared licensees. Do you want something added, some other things added to those responsibilities? Yeah, that
Seems like we need to, if we're adding risk management to it, and maybe in that motion, you could call out cybersecurity. Within that,
Monitor and attempt to mitigate risks for an organization, including cybersecurity.
Have a little paragraph, maybe. Did a little thinking about this. So obviously, the stuff that Kirk said first, but then as a safeguard of sensitive personal healthcare information while ensuring uninterrupted regulatory processes.
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
We may have to wordsmith it a little to make it fit into the existing, but the part that I really wanted to emphasize is cybersecurity is a critical concern to boards of nursing. It's a safeguard of sensitive personal and healthcare information while ensuring that interrupted regulatory process.
So maybe that's like an add-on to, I mean, I do think we could add that specifics about cybersecurity, which is, I mean, what you stated, but in general,
Yeah, the risk management.
risk management, or like run to include, yeah.
Yeah, like Brenda said.
Do we have specific insurance policies that we obtain, like? Do you know
Which,
Or is it all just?
the state of Kansas is self-insured. And we're not in cybersecurity.
Our finance committee, they monitor all our insurance policies and coverages and amounts, and then. The other thing I was thinking about is like employee safety and security or other processes. I don't know. If that falls just under strictly management or administration, but.
I mean, we have noticed probably some procedures and stuff
Yeah.
upstairs that we've been enhancing over the years, just because of the world. So that could potentially fall in this, that we can share what we're doing, be transparent with that. But yeah, I think that being able to expand into risk management might also encompass some of that, so that. Yeah, we need that. And on the cybersecurity portion, I guess I should say that the NCSBN does have policies up in their office for like the influx and nurses and those type of systems, so that we do have some coverage in that regard. But for the state of Kansas in general, it's a self-insured entity. At least at this time, something changes.
And we're responsible for our website. We don't, do we have portals on the website?
Yes.
We do all the application process.
Yeah.
Would that all be covered, do you think,
Yes.
under language?
Yes, we've spent, I did 611 hours worth of work this year on this topic with our information security officers. So we've been doing an absolute deep dive every. Doesn't mean we're going to catch everything, but you know, we're doing our very best to make it solid as we can, and performing scans and firing, you know, all these different things that we're going to put on these new computers, for example. Have some elevated security privileges on them, or restricted security privileges. The systems themselves are going through different audits and different scans and those sorts of things. We're participants in all the cybersecurity meetings, trainings that the state has. So it's been a really focused effort.
I think you also reached out to gather even more than what was saying. You've done an amazing job with predicting and trying to mitigate and have things ready if needed.
Thank you. It's a team, definitely a team effort.
Oh, I understand
The
that,
entire staff, you know, they all are very alert to things. And
but
so,
you kept us up to date and brought people in to talk to us, and that has been very.
I think going forward, we're going to continue to do that. You'll hear from two individuals this afternoon. You know, I even like to have the, I think it's really important that I remove myself from the meeting so that you can speak directly with the security folks, you know, to ensure that who is ever sitting in this position is doing their due diligence as well. You know, like a true financial audit, you know, you need to have that side as well, because they really are so joined in things. So, but I like the idea of just the risk management in general, maybe not focusing solely on cybersecurity in case the physical operations or operational processes. Potentially. So maybe we can tweak that a little.
And we could maybe bring all of this together and bring a draft back in March.
So that would move us to our just agenda item for our March. meeting. And then also in March, we will have, I don't know, budget
We will have went through the hearings, so we typically don't hear until the very end. They do kind of, everything's pushed to them, but we have a pretty good idea. I mean, after the hearings, you can kind of get a feel.
So you just post hearing update.
Yeah.
Election.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other agenda items? Can I adjourn?
Thank you. See you in a bit.